What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now, I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets, or receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $390 just yesterday. Another member who won $438 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to SB445 who said thank you, I cash, and shouts out to Jason Ackerman 5740 who spammed up the emoji. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. Now, obviously, guys, there is only one game for today for the NBA. So, these picks will be all from the same game. So there is going to be some overlap. But looking at the first pick, we are going to be talking about Jaylen Williams. Now, Jaylen Williams had himself, a really decent first game. But in this one, we got Jaylen Williams for 20.5 points. And this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Jaylen Williams, we've actually seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we basically do see quite a lot of things. We see on May 12th, against Denver Nuggets. So this was last series. We actually did see him have 10 points. Then on May 14th, against Denver again, had 18 points. May 16th, had 6 points. Then May 19th, had 24 points. And then game 1 on May 21, he actually finished off with 19 points. So he did a great job in that first game. But obviously, we do look at this matchup and this series, and OKC do face off against Minnesota Timberwolves in game 2. Now, it is going to be OKC's home court as well, which is also, an interesting one there. But looking at that first game, we all know how it went. We actually saw Thunder actually do a pretty good job. I would say somewhat smoked, Timberwolves in that game 1, as they did win 114-88. So OKC do take the lead, and now they also will be, announcing that Shea has won the MVP. So, SGA has actually won the MVP and helped this Thunder team. But looking at Thunder and also, their matchup Minnesota, looking at Thunder first, we did actually see them come first in the Western Conference with a record of 68-14. So they did a fantastic job, having 82.9% win percentage, which I thought was great, and also finished off the season with a 4-game win streak. Now, when it comes to the Thunder's path to the actual conference finals, it's definitely been a good one. We actually saw them face off against Grizzlies in round 1 and were able to take them down very easily. Then in the next round, they were able to take down the Denver Nuggets, which got taken all the way to 7 games. And then on top of that, you also do see that on the other side of the table, we see that Minnesota Timberwolves also had a really hard-fought battle, because they actually knocked out the Los Angeles Lakers, who were actually the higher seed, who actually ranked 3rd while Timberwolves ranked 6th, and they knocked them out in round 1. Then in round 2, we actually saw the Timberwolves knock out the Golden State Warriors in that second round to head them into the conference finals. So it's definitely been an interesting one for the Western Conference. Now, Timberwolves' record was also 49-33, so they had a 59.8% win percentage as well, and actually finished off the season with a 3-game win streak. So they did a fantastic job there. Now, looking at this matchup even further, and a big reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that when we look at Minnesota Timberwolves, we do actually see that the Timberwolves do actually rank 5th when it comes to points allowed. And for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. When we look at Jaylen Williams, as we all know, we do see that Jaylen Williams does also play that small forward position at times, and usually, sometimes he does move to guard or even sometimes forward, but mainly we do see him playing the small forward position, and Minnesota actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the small forward position, and for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. Looking at someone like Jaylen, also when it comes to that first game, we only saw him get 19 points in that first matchup. So we did see Timberwolves actually do a fantastic job at restricting him and slowing him down as much as they can. When we also look at Jaylen Williams' usage rate just throughout, the whole playoffs in general, it's definitely been on the lower side. This is due to the fact that obviously it is playoff time. They are going to look to SGA most of the time, and they are going to try to get him to get that win as much as they can. So, for that reason, we do very, very much like the under for this situation here. And we definitely see someone like Jaylen Williams going on under. As we look at his average over the last 5, it's also 15.4, so significantly below this line. But looking at Jaylen Williams, we do see Jaylen Williams has done a great job, but when we look at the 4 games that they did play against Minnesota during the regular season, we did see some pretty interesting stats. We saw their first matchup on the 31st of December where he actually had 14 points in that matchup, so went on the under in that one. Next matchup after that was on the 13th of February. They faced off again, and he only had 20 points in that matchup, so went on the under by 0.5. Then on the 23rd of February, we saw him have 18 points there, and then on the 24th, so the day after, had 27 points. So we have seen him do a pretty good job, in some of those games. However, he actually has gone on the under in 3 out of those 4 games. That's a telltale sign to us on why we do like the under for this situation here, and we are definitely sticking to it, especially for Jaylen Williams, who also went under in game 1. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under. So Jaylen Williams, 20.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Mike Conley. So as you all know, Mike Conley, great player, had a great game 1, although they did actually end up losing. But this one's a fantastic one for 3.5 assists, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Mike Conley, we've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, this is a very interesting one because we do see that, Mike Conley's gone on the under in 2 out of the last 5. But looking at those last 5, we see on May 9th, faced off against Warriors, he had 2 assists there. Then May 11th had 5 assists in that matchup against Warriors. Then in game 4, we also saw him have 5 assists there. Moving on into game 5, where they knocked out the Golden State Warriors, he had 8 assists in that matchup, and then also had 3 assists on May 21st against Oklahoma City Thunder. So we definitely have seen Mike Conley do a great job, throughout the games, but obviously this is a very, very new matchup as they do face off against Oklahoma City Thunder and not the Golden State Warriors. But his average over the last 5 is also 4.6. Now, obviously, looking at this next game, we do see they face off against OKC. Now, OKC did do a great job in game 1. They were able to take the win. Now, looking at Oklahoma City Thunder, we do see that OKC do rank 4th when it comes to assists allowed. That's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, looking at someone like Conley as well, we did see him in that first game go on the under, and that's also just a slight sign for us why we do like the under again for this next game. Now, we aren't expecting, that many adjustments from OKC's defense due to the fact that it did actually a good job last game, since they did end up winning by a reasonable amount. So for that reason, we do very, very much like the under for someone like Mike Conley, and we can definitely see him being on the, lower end of the stick in a sense of going on the under in this situation once again. OKC's defense has definitely been a problem for all of the players in that Minnesota roster, but obviously with Conley, he isn't really a main player. It's definitely Anthony Edwards' team, and also Julius Randle also has a very high usage rate, and we did see in that game 1, Randle and Edwards did take a lot more of the usage rate, and Conley ended up being more of that spot-up shooter for this team. So if he is more of a spot-up shooter, it definitely doesn't lead to a lot more assists, and that's why we are sticking to the under. So we are expecting a similar play style as they did in game 1 in this game 2, which is why we do like the under for someone like Conley here. Now, looking at Mike Conley against the Thunder throughout the regular season, we definitely see something pretty interesting. Now, obviously, on their first matchup, which was on December 31st, we saw him have 4 assists there. Then, on the 23rd of February, actually had 5 assists. and then had 1 assist on the 24th of February on that back-to-back matchup. So we have seen him go on the under in one of those 3 games. Now, although it's the minority going on the under out of those 3 games, we still do like the under due to the fact that Thunder in this matchup has definitely been a great defensive team all series, and not just throughout this series but also through the last couple of ones, and that's why we are expecting it to have a huge effect on Mike Conley's assists. So when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have him favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So Mike Conley, 3.5 assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Chet Holmgren. So as you all know, Chet, great player for none other than Oklahoma City Thunder. And this one is a fantastic one because this one is actually for 8.5 rebounds, and this one actually is for more. So looking at Chet Holmgren, as we all know, we actually have seen him go on the over in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see that on May 12th, faced off against Denver, we had 13 rebounds there. Then on May 14th, faced off against Denver again, where he had 8 rebounds there. Then game 6, May 16th, had actually 11 rebounds against Denver. And then game 7 to finish them off and advance to the next round, we saw them face off against Denver on May 19th and had 11 rebounds there. Now looking into game 1 against Minnesota, we saw him actually get 7 rebounds on May 21st. Now obviously OKC do face off against Minnesota Timberwolves. There's definitely going to be a very exciting game, as this is game 2 for this series. Now looking at Chet Holmgren, it's definitely going to be an exciting battle because we do see that Minnesota Timberwolves do actually rank 8th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So they rank a little bit, worse in that category compared to points and assists. But when it comes to Chet, we do actually like the over for this situation here due to the fact that Timberwolves actually do a very poor job at restricting rebounds to the big man position. So we definitely see someone like Chet going on the over in this situation here. When it comes to Chet, we definitely have seen him do a fantastic job all season. Even the times that we see in the last 5 games that he has missed the line, he's gotten very close. So Chet Holmgren's usage rate actually does remain very high in the rebounding department. No matter the play style, no matter the defensive strategy that they do run, Chet seems to have a very good usage rate in the rebounding department, and it definitely does remain no matter, the outcomes or the external factors, I would say. So looking at this match, we should see Chet be able to take advantage of it. Now in game 1, he did only have 7 rebounds, but that was still, close enough for us to like the consistency at getting close to this line that we should see him go on the over in this next one for sure. Now, looking at also Chet against the Timberwolves during the regular season, we actually saw them face off against each other twice. Now the first one was on February 13th, where he actually had 12 rebounds in that matchup, so he did a fantastic job there. And then the next matchup was on the 23rd of that same month, and he had 4 rebounds in that matchup. So, he did go on the over in one of those 2 games. Now, when it comes to this one, we do still like the over for this situation for someone like Chet, as we are expecting him to go on the over, especially when it comes to his usage rate, during these playoffs. He's definitely had a very good usage rate, and the strategies that, OKC like to run, we definitely should see him stay on the over in this next one. So Chet Holmgren, 8.5 rebounds for more, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Rudy Gobert. So as you all know, Rudy Gobert is a great player for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And as we all know, Minnesota Timberwolves have had themselves a very good season. Now we actually did see, in the season, we actually saw him average 12 points, 10.9 rebounds, 1.8 assists, while also shooting 66.9% from the field. So he actually did a fantastic job there. Now looking at someone like Rudy Gobert, we definitely are expecting a really good matchup. Now he did rank 95th in points, 7th in rebounds, and 143rd in assists. So he definitely did a great job in that. But when we look at this, also rankings in all these 3, we actually have seen him just do a really good job in those rebounding and points, as he did make it into the top 100 and also made it in the top 5 in field goal percentage, which I thought was great. Now, obviously, Timberwolves do face off against Thunder. We have, touched on this already, but just to reiterate again, Thunder did come first in the Western Conference with a record of 68-14, which is an 82.9% win percentage. They also finish off the season with a 4-game win streak, and they face off against the Thunder. Not the Thunder, the Timberwolves, who do actually rank 6th in the Western Conference with a record of 49-33, with a 59.8% win percentage, and also finished off the season with a 3-game win streak. So both these teams definitely had a great, journey, I would say, to the playoffs or to the conference finals, and it's definitely going to be an exciting game. Now, obviously, OKC did take game 1, and a pretty convincing game 1 at that, but looking at OKC in general, we do see when it comes to points allowed, we see that they rank 3rd. When it comes to assists allowed, we see that they rank 4th, and then rebounds allowed, Oklahoma City do rank 20th. So we actually have seen OKC do a really good job in points and assists, a little bit less in rebounds. And when it comes to Rudy Gobert, we do very much like the under for this situation here, but only for points and assists. A big reason being is due to the fact that Thunder do actually rank very, very well in both of those categories. And because of that, we do very much like the under for, those two situations there. And we definitely saw that in game 1, which we will touch on in a bit. But we do also need to see that when we look at per position basis, we see that Thunder do a great job at restricting points and assists to the center position, which works out in our favor there. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. Now, looking at his past games, we also do see some, interesting stat lines from him. We do see that on game 2 against the Golden State Warriors, 117-93, we actually saw him have 5 points, 9 rebounds, and 0 assists there. On top of that, moving on into the actual next game, game 3, where he had a 102-97 victory against Warriors again. He had 9 points, 13 rebounds, and 0 assists. Game 4, 117-110 win with 8 points, 1 assist, 6 rebounds. And then game 5 had 17 points, 0 assists, and then 8 rebounds there. So, he did a great job during that series. Obviously, Warriors is a different matchup to this OKC one. And now looking at game 1 against Oklahoma City Thunder, we actually saw him, do a pretty poor job in a sense that he did only have 2 points, 1 assist, and 3 rebounds with a 114-88 loss. So we did see him play a good amount of minutes as well, 21 minutes, definitely a little bit lower than usual. And that's due to the fact that I think, Timberwolves are definitely trying something different when it came to matchups. It wasn't really working out with Rudy Gobert out there. And we definitely saw his usage rate suffer from that. And we should see a similar situation in this next game as well. So like I mentioned, I would definitely focus a little bit more on points and assists due to the fact that OKC just naturally do rank higher in both of those categories and restricting those categories as well. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the line, points and assists. Keep an eye out for it. If it is too close to his averages, then definitely look to go on the under there. Now getting to the next player, we're going to be talking about Aaron Wiggins. So as you all know, Aaron Wiggins, great player for Oklahoma City Thunder, and he's done a fantastic job during the regular season because he actually averaged 12 points, 3.9 rebounds, 1.8 assists, while also shooting 48.8% from the field. So he did a fantastic job there. We actually saw him ranked 96th in points, 115th in rebounds, 144th in assists, and then 39th in field goal percentage. So we definitely have seen him do a fantastic job. And when it comes to Oklahoma City Thunder, they do face off against none other than the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we do know, OKC and Timberwolves obviously did lose their first game. Thunder were able to come away with the win. And looking at someone like Aaron Wiggins and the matchup against Timberwolves, we do see Timberwolves rank 5th in points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, they do rank 5th. And then rebounds allowed, they also do rank 8th. So they rank very, very well in all 3 categories. Now, when it comes to someone like Aaron Wiggins, we do very much like the under for this situation here. A big reason being is that when it comes to Oklahoma City Thunder, they actually do just, a great job at, letting all their their players play. However, what we have seen is that his usage rate still does remain low, as there are other players in this team, especially in his position, the shooting guard, whether that's SGA, Jaylen Williams, Caruso. List really does go on and on. Lugan Dort, who do take a lot more of the usage rate out there, even when he's out there on the floor. So for that reason, we are expecting him to play a good amount of minutes, but we are expecting his usage rate to still remain very, very low. Now, looking at, the most recent games that he has played, we definitely see some similarities as well there. We saw in game 4 against Denver on a 92-87 victory, he did have 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then in game 5, 112-105 win, had 3 points, 2 assists, and 1 rebound there. Moving on from that, we actually had game 6, where in game 6, we saw them lose 119 to actually 107, and that he had 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. And then game 7, 125-93 victory, had 8 points, 3 assists, and 4 rebounds. Then in game 1 against Minnesota, we saw him play a good amount, 13 minutes, and he still only had 2 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists there. So we definitely still see him going on the under here. Minnesota do rank very well in all 3 categories, and the fact that Wiggins' usage rate has definitely remained on the lower side, especially during, I would say the whole playoffs in general, just the whole playoffs in general, we should see a similar, sort of outcome coming this next one, especially since they did win that game 1. We are expecting a similar strategy and game plan from OKC coming into game 2. So for that reason, keep an eye out for his line. Like I always mentioned, if the line is too close to his averages, definitely look to go on the under. So definitely see a lot of great value there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about SGA's cousin. Yes, interesting, right? SGA's cousin, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I just found this out, in game 1. But when we look at, Nickeil, we actually do see him average 9.4 points during the regular season, 3.2 rebounds, 2.7 assists, while also shooting 43.8% from the field. So he's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like Nickeil, it's definitely been a really good matchup, but we do see that they face off against Oklahoma City Thunder in this next matchup. Obviously, OKC are up 1-0 in this series. And just to reiterate again, when it comes to their standings, Thunder did come first in the Western Conference, while Minnesota did actually come 6th. But looking even further, what we also do see is that when we look at Minnesota and the Thunder matchup, we do see OKC ranked 3rd in points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, we see that they rank 4th, and rebounds allowed, like we mentioned before, we see them ranked 20th. So when it comes to someone, like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, we do very much like the under for this situation here. But I would definitely focus a little bit more on rebounds and assists. And a big reason being for this is due to the fact that when we look at Nickeil, Alexander-Walker, what we are expecting in this next matchup is that, he is going to be more of a defensive presence for this team. Now, what I mean by that is we may not see him actually provide that much offense. Now, we may still see his line in points do pretty well. And the reason why is because OKC actually do a poor job at restricting points specifically to the shooting guard position. So that's why we are focusing a little bit more on the rebounding and assist category. We definitely see a lot more, value in that sort of categories for someone like Nickeil to actually go on the under in those ones. Now, looking at, his matchups and his stat lines over the last couple of games, we definitely see some pretty interesting ones. Now, obviously, looking at game 2 of the actual Golden State Warriors matchup, we saw him have 20 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds there. So he did a good job in that matchup. Then in game 3, 102-97 victory, had 0 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds there, which was interesting to see. After that, moved on into game 4, had a 117-110 victory. Now in that matchup, we saw him have 13 points, 2 assists, and also 2 rebounds. Then in game 5, had 2 points, 2 assists, and 0 rebounds in that matchup. And in game 1, where they lost 114-88, we actually saw him have 8 points, 0 assists, and 2 rebounds there. So we definitely have seen him go on the under in some of those matchups. And when we look also at OKC and Timberwolves matchup. Obviously, Thunder are a great defensive team, and we definitely see them playing great defense on someone like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. On top of that, Nickeil's job out there is definitely just to play defense. When it comes to the scoring, when it comes to, doing the other things out there, we are expecting, Timberwolves to rely on other players like Anthony Edwards, like Julius Randle to do those types of things. And we think Nickeil is just going to be out there to mark SGA as well as he can and just prevent him from scoring as much as they can as well. So that's usually been his role throughout the whole series and also, throughout the last series. So we are expecting that for this one as well. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I see a lot of value there in the rebounds and assist line. Definitely focus in on those. You definitely see him going the under there.